I went to Philly for the first time because a black woman I connected with on the internet years ago believed in my work. And I think that's something to celebrate, but also something I want to think through with you. In a world that constantly ties our validity to proximity to whiteness, to capital, to likes, to brand deals, I'm wondering if we recognize how important and valuable and divine it is to be seen, understood, and honored within our communities and by our audiences. Collective thinking, creating, and imagining together is important, and I think being honored in spaces that see you are just as important as anything else. For years after college, I was experimenting with how I wanted to contribute to the movement that is Black Studies, and through me exploring, usually through media, through things like Instagram Live series, through podcasting, through writing, through Instagram posts that express my writing, I was exploring different topics like indigenous knowledge, identity, naming and identification, and how much that intrigued me. But I think what's becoming more intriguing now, especially since I was invited to Philly to do a panel discussion because of that, I'm realizing how important it is for us to accept ourselves and to run with the curiosities that are on our spirits and the importance of us expressing them, right? This is outside of the algorithm. This is outside of what gets you likes. This is pure, authentic expression and creation, right? I think that when we follow our hearts, we allow ourselves to not only be seen, but to be seen by the people who are meant to be a part of your community, who you're meant to impact, and also who you're meant to create worlds and space with. The people who are meant to be on your frequency will find you when you start to vibrate on it. And I think that we go through a process of ebb and flow. And I know for a fact I have for years, because healing isn't linear and the way we develop and grow within ourselves is not linear. But I began to realize more intimately recently that we, yes, exist in a physical and spiritual dimension, but we're constantly shifting through frequencies. And based on how we raise our frequency mentally and spiritually, that is how we call in networks and people that are part of our frequency. And I think that this experience and building a relationship with the Hidden Content Network, with Sarah, with Hunter, with Ladia, who are the creators, who are Black women, who are behind Hidden Content Network, I was able to realize that. And interestingly enough, this night I realized that on an even deeper level. Now, before we came in, my spirit and my ancestors was like, listen tonight. So I went to the bar, I got a drink, right? But over to the right of me, as the music was going, I could have sworn I heard a powwow going. And sure enough, I believe I did. And that was me tapping into a different frequency. Because our ancestors lived on different frequencies too, and within different spaces, and depending on how we vibrate, they vibrate with us. So I'm to a point now where I really want to focus on my frequency and vibrating on the frequency to which I want to be connected with others on, because that is what gets you from point A to point B. That is what helps you authentically express your creativity, authentically express your spirit, and that is what allows us to tap into the childlike wonder that is honoring our spirits, our minds, our hearts, and our bodies. Because the reality is that we all have destinies that we're meant to fulfill, and they're intrinsically connected to the frequencies that we decide to vibrate on, the people we decide to connect with, and most importantly, how we connect with ourselves in order for us to get there. Because it is through that we are able to connect with others and create the worlds that we wish to see, that are more liberatory, that are more creative, and that are more in alignment.